There is one single definitive thing a woman will never ever share with a man unless she is completely, hopelessly, and irreversibly in love with him. And no, it is not her phone password, her deepest secret, or the keys to her apartment. It is something far more raw, completely unfiltered, and so subtly woven into daily life that the vast majority of men do not even recognize it when it is happening right in front of them. Most men are busy looking for grand gestures, waiting for some massive cinematic declaration of love, completely blind to the fact that the real commitment has already been handed to them. In fact, behavioral data reveals a staggering reality. 78% of men completely miss the exact moment a woman emotionally commits to them. Think about that number for a second. That means nearly 8 out of 10 men are walking around completely oblivious to where they actually stand in their relationship. Right now, at this very second, there's a high probability that a woman in your life has already mentally and emotionally handed you the keys to her heart, while you are still standing on the doorstep, fumbling around in the dark looking for the lock. You are trying to figure out if she likes you, while she has already decided you are her person. The fundamental disconnect here is that women do not fall in love or commit the way men think they do. Men are conditioned to believe that love is a series of milestone events, a dramatic confession, an expensive date, or a movie-like moment where she runs through the rain to say those 3 magic words. That version of romance is entertaining, but it is completely wrong. In the real world, when a woman falls deeply in love, she does not announce it with a megaphone. She leaks it. She shares it in tiny, almost invisible daily habits, micro-expressions, and shifts in her behavior that most men walk right past without a single thought. This matters more than you realize because these silent signals come with a ticking clock. If you miss these moments, if you fail to validate the hidden parts of herself she is trying to share with you, she will eventually stop offering them. It will not happen overnight, and it won't be because she suddenly stopped loving you out of nowhere. It will happen because she gradually realized you simply were not paying attention. A woman who feels consistently unseen will not throw a tantrum or cause a scene. She will quietly, elegantly close the door to her heart, doing it so gently that you won't even hear it shut. You will just wake up one day, look at her, and wonder when she became so distant. To make sure that never happens, you need to understand the absolute truth about what it looks like when she is 100% all in. When a woman starts talking to you about her past, you need to understand that she isn't just making casual conversation or sharing the cute, curated stories from her childhood. She isn't talking about the time she won a school spelling bee or how she used to ride her bicycle around the neighborhood. She is opening up the heavy, locked cellar door of her life and showing you the messy, painful, and unpolished truth. She is telling you about the screaming matches her parents had in the kitchen while she hid in her bedroom, the exact moment she felt completely abandoned by someone she trusted, or the deeply rooted reason why her entire body flinches whenever someone raises their voice. When she shares these memories, she isn't looking for sympathy, and she isn't trying to wear you down with her baggage. Psychology proves that emotional vulnerability of this caliber is the single greatest indicator of a deep, secure attachment bond between two people. In plain terms, a woman absolutely will not show you her raw psychological wounds unless she trusts you enough to believe you won't step on them. You have to realize that she has almost certainly been burned before. She has likely handed these same fragile pieces of her history to the wrong person in the past, only to watch that person weaponize them or use them against her during an argument. So, when she willingly places a piece of her soul in your hands, wrapped in a sentence she probably rehearsed 100 times in her head before speaking it out loud, she is being incredibly brave. She loves you enough to risk the pain of rejection all over again. The single biggest mistake men make in this exact moment is trying to fix the problem. Men are naturally wired to hear a dilemma and immediately shift into solution mode, offering advice like a mechanic trying to repair a broken engine. You might be tempted to say things like, "Well, have you tried therapy?" Or, "That was a long time ago. You shouldn't let it bother you anymore." Stop doing that immediately. She does not need a mechanic. She needs a witness. She doesn't want you to rush her out of her feelings or a bridge to get over them. She needs you to sit in the quiet space with her, hold her hand, acknowledge the gravity of what she went through, and simply listen without judgment. This profound need for emotional safety ties directly into the second major way she reveals her love, sharing her raw, unedited physical insecurities. We live in a hyper-curated world dominated by social media filters, perfect camera angles, and carefully performed confidence. Women are under immense, constant pressure to present a flawless version of themselves to the public. So, when a woman willingly stands in front of you with absolutely zero makeup on, wearing baggy sweatpants under the least flattering lighting possible, and says something like, "I really hate my arms," or "I feel incredibly bloated today," you need to pay very close attention. This is not a cheap play for compliments, and she isn't fishing for you to say, "No, you look great." Data shows that over 91% of women battle severe internal body dissatisfaction on a daily basis. That means nearly every woman you cross paths with is fighting a private, exhausting war inside her own head about the way she looks. When she exposes that specific battlefield to you, she's letting you see completely behind the curtain. She is showing you the exact version of herself that she meticulously hides from her coworkers, her friends, and her Instagram feed. She is taking a massive gamble, essentially saying, "I am trusting you to still look at me with desire and respect after I show you the physical traits I'm most deeply ashamed of." Your reaction to this moment is not something she will forget by next week or next month. It is permanently, indelibly filed away in her mind. Women possess a metaphorical filing cabinet in their brains specifically reserved for how a man responds the very first time she shows him her physical vulnerability. If you dismiss her feelings, laugh it off, or give a half-hearted, distracted response while looking at your phone, you will end up in the wrong drawer and she will begin to pull away. But if you meet her vulnerability with genuine, deeply felt reassurance, making her feel completely seen, accepted, and beautiful in her rawest form, you lock in a level of trust that can weather almost any storm. Sometimes the most profound and powerful thing a woman will ever share with you is absolutely nothing at all. Before you think that sounds completely backwards, you have to understand the hidden psychology of human conversation. Behavioral research shows that it takes a mere 4 seconds of silence in a conversation for the human brain to trigger panic, causing people to feel sudden anxiety, awkwardness, and the stinging fear of rejection. We are practically wired to dread empty space in a conversation, which is why most people desperately scramble to fill the air with meaningless small talk just to keep things moving. Now, look at how she behaves when she is alone with you. If a woman can sit right next to you for hours on end without constantly reaching for her phone, without needing a background distraction, and without feeling a single ounce of pressure to manufacture words, she is sending you a massive silent. From a very young age, women are socially conditioned to be natural caretakers of the room, meaning they are taught to smooth over awkward moments, keep conversations flowing, and constantly monitor the comfort levels of everyone around them. It is an exhausting social performance that they carry out daily. So, the moment she drops that exhausting performance around you and simply exists in your presence without an ounce of anxiety, it means she feels completely safe. She has stopped running. Her silence in your presence isn't awkward, boring, or stagnant. It is sacred. It means she isn't just visiting your life. She feels like she is finally home. This deep, effortless comfort naturally bleeds into the way she talks about her life, which brings us to the next undeniable sign, the automatic creation of love maps. You need to start tuning your ears to her casual, everyday phrasing because she is secretly laying down the tracks for where your relationship is heading. When she carelessly drops a line like, "Oh, we should absolutely take a road trip there next summer," or "You're going to love my cousin's wedding in October," or even something as simple as, "We need to try that new restaurant when it opens next month." Stop what you're doing and pay attention. What she just did was not an accident. She has actively, intentionally placed your face, your name, and your presence directly inside her future reality. Relationship experts refer to this psychological phenomenon as building a love map. It is the process of a person expanding their mental picture of the world to automatically include their partner at the absolute center of it. The contrast here is what makes this sign so incredibly definitive. When a woman is unsure about a man, or when she is keeping one foot out the door, her language becomes fiercely guarded, non-committal, and isolated. If you try to plan something with her, she will say things like, "We'll see, maybe," or "I'm not entirely sure what my schedule looks like next week." She speaks strictly in terms of me, myself, and I. But the exact moment she falls in love, her internal vocabulary undergoes a massive, permanent shift. Suddenly, without her even realizing she is doing it, her default language transitions completely into we, us, and our. She stops planning a life that you might fit into and starts actively building a life that is fundamentally built around the two of you together. She has officially stopped acting like a solo traveler in her own world, packed up her bags, and bought you a permanent ticket to ride right alongside her. When a woman reaches a point where she sits down and details the exact way her ex broke her trust, lied to her, or manipulated her emotions, you need to completely reframe how you are hearing it. She is not bringing up her past to complain. She isn't stuck in the past, and she is absolutely not trying to make you jealous or compare you to her old relationship. What is actually happening beneath the surface is that she is gripped by a quiet, deep-seated terror that history is going to repeat itself with you. She has experienced the agonizing fallout of giving her heart to the wrong person, and because she feels herself falling deeply in love with you, her natural self-defense mechanisms are flashing warning lights. By telling you exactly how she was hurt, she is doing something incredibly brave and intentional. She is handing you the literal blueprint and roadmap of her deepest heartbreak. She is marking the landmines on the map so that you know exactly where not to step. She is showing you the precise behaviors, words, and situations that triggered her past trauma so that you have the ultimate guide on how to avoid driving down those exact same roads. She is giving you the answers to the test because she desperately wants you to pass. The absolute worst you can possibly do in this moment, and a mistake that millions of men make daily, is to get defensive and snap back with, "Well, I'm not your ex." While that statement might be technically true, it is completely 100% emotionally useless to her. When you say that, you are effectively dismissing her fears, invalidating her past pain, and telling her that her caution is annoying to you. What she actually needs from you in that high-stakes moment is for you to look her in the eyes, acknowledge the sheer weight of the garbage she had to endure before she met you, and commit to being a safe harbor. Don't just tell her you are different. Prove it to her day after day through unwavering consistency, transparent honesty, and emotional stability. Show her through your actions that the roadmap she handed you is being used to protect her, not to find loopholes. Once she realizes that her past heartbreak is safe with you, her guard drops even lower, which seamlessly ushers in the next beautiful phase of her love, revealing her unfiltered, downright weird daily habits. When a woman starts openly admitting to you that she talks to her dog in a completely ridiculous baby voice, eats dry cereal straight out of the box over the kitchen sink at midnight, or watches the most trashy, terrible reality TV shows on a continuous loop, you need to celebrate. The social armor has officially been thrown in the trash. You have to understand that women spend their entire lives under a microscope, constantly editing, managing, and curating how they present themselves to the world so they can appear poised, professional, and put together. Sharing these incredibly silly, harmless, and unpolished quirks with you is a psychological fast track that drastically spikes emotional closeness and intimacy. She is willingly pulling back the heavy curtain of her public persona and exposing the raw, unedited, slightly unhinged version of who she is when absolutely nobody is watching. She is taking a massive emotional risk by showing you her eccentricities, and she is trusting you with everything she has, not to make her feel stupid, judged, or childish for them. When she lets you in on these private, quirky moments, do not tease her maliciously or roll your eyes. Drop your own guard, laugh right along with her, and embrace the beautiful weirdness because she didn't just share a funny habit. She just handed you the key to the real, authentic woman behind the mask. When it comes to human relationships, money is the absolute final taboo. It is a wild psychological fact that people will willingly open up about their deepest childhood traumas, their worst heartbreaks, and their most intimate therapy sessions long before they will ever reveal the exact number sitting in their checking account. Money carries a massive amount of shame, guilt, and judgment, which is why nearly half of all couples in relationships are actively keeping major financial secrets from each other right now. So, the exact moment a woman sits you down and exposes her true financial reality to you, the game has completely changed. She isn't just making casual conversation, she is bringing you into the inner sanctum of her real life. If she willingly opens up to you about the unglamorous, stressful truth of her lingering student loans, her mounting credit card debt, or the fact that she is living paycheck to paycheck, she is executing a massive act of trust. On the flip side, even if she is doing incredibly well and shares her high income or her wealth with you, that is equally terrifying for her because women often fear that financial success will intimidate a man or attract someone who wants to exploit them. By laying all her cards on the table, she is signaling that she no longer views you as a short-term guest or a temporary date. She fundamentally sees you as a long-term life partner. She wants you to know exactly where she stands practically, legally, and financially, because she is actively planning a future where she stands right next to you tackling the real world as a unified team. This high-level practical transparency opens the door to the final, most raw, and undeniably powerful sign that a woman is completely consumed by love for you, her explicit fear of losing you. This is the moment where all the games, the strategies, and the emotional protective gear are completely stripped away. You will hear it when she looks at you during a quiet moment and softly admits, "Sometimes I'm just so scared because this feels way too good to be true." Or when she holds on to you just a little bit tighter, refusing to let go immediately after you've had a rough disagreement. To truly understand the gravity of this moment, you have to realize that women are fiercely conditioned by modern society to act completely detached, fiercely independent, and to never under any circumstances let a man know that he has the emotional upper hand. From a young age, they are taught to play it cool and act like they could easily walk away tomorrow without a scratch, purely as a survival mechanism to protect their hearts. So, when she actively shatters that hard armor right in front of you and openly confesses that the mere thought of losing you terrifies her, she is doing the emotional equivalent of jumping out of an airplane at 10,000 feet without a parachute, completely trusting that you love her enough to catch her before she hits the ground. While some modern relationship gurus might foolishly label this behavior as clingy or insecure, psychological attachment theory proves the exact opposite. Decades of clinical research reveal that the fear of losing a partner is actually a primary indicator of a healthy, deeply secure emotional bond, not weakness. It means she has fully allowed her heart to latch onto yours. This is the ultimate fork in the road for your relationship. If you dismiss her fears, pull back, or treat her confession like a burden, she will immediately retreat into survival mode and start building massive walls you will never get over. But if you meet her raw admission with fierce reassurance, unwavering consistency, and matching vulnerability, you will unlock a depth of unconditional love, loyalty, and devotion that most men will go their entire lives without ever experiencing.